Here's the story of a bearish trader who was selling into every single bounce. All his orders hit the bid, such a sucker. Sometimes you buy the dip. It's the story of a bullish trader who was buying each down tick he saw. He averaged down and rarely stopped out on the edge of blowing up. Until one day they subscribed to Routine Trader and realized they can do both buy and sell. That there are two sides to Mr. Market, and beating him both ways is pretty swell. Yeah, pretty swell, so very swell. Beating Mr. Market both ways is pretty swell.
Cheers to another trading day, retail trading team. I'm Astro, and this is your routine briefing. It is a trading day in the literal sense of the word, yet very much like yesterday, it is, at least for me, borderline untradeable. And so we are going to jump right in here, look at where it may become tradable again. Hey, if you're just buying the open, it seems to be the trade of the century for the past 5 days. So if that's what you're doing, I'm glad that's working out for you, and I wish you the best of luck if you choose to continue doing so. So I saw on the Twitters a post about not being negative and only saying positive things about the market. So I will try to temper my frustration with not being provided with trades yesterday or really today so far, and just kind of give you this briefing and stay positive and upbeat. And with that, we're going to transfer to the charts, and I am going to go grab my stress ball after this briefing for sure. So, yeah, so I'm not involved at all as of yet. I tried a little baby trade yesterday, just kind of a short. I lost 3 points, and that was really it. It's really interesting the level of strength that we're seeing for this breakout in the quote-unquote bear market of 2022, if that's what you want to call it. I struggle to call that a bear market. Good morning, Mr. Dale. Based on the fact that it does seem very much that greed is much stronger than fear, really since the pullback of 2020. Again, I would not call that a bear market either. And so we just kind of have to be very careful with the trades that we take, especially on the short side. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for today, just general sentiment wise. And really, I think for the foreseeable future, sentiment wise, we have to be very careful on these shorts because we are in a period of extreme exuberance. Is it irrational? I don't know. Yet we definitely have to stay nimble, especially if you're trying to get involved on the short side. Thank you, Twee, for that comment. I meant to shave for this briefing today, so I thank you for the comment regardless. So, any case, since we actually have viewers, for once, I am going to not focus on my opinion of the market, and we're going to jump right into the price action and what that can tell us relative to today's action. So, let's jump into that weekly chart first and kind of go over the theme of the moment just in general, and that is, as you can see here, we are in a state of imbalance, we are above all trend lines, and we are squeezing. So it is no surprise, I don't think, that we're going up. It's really just the lack of any buyable pullback that I think is making it difficult and causing my upbeat frustration there, Mr. Dale. Yes, irrationally exuberant tie and glasses. I don't know about irrational, Dale. I think this is a rationally exuberant tie to kind of temper or foil the market, we'll say. So, in any case, yeah, so in terms of what's going on in sentiment, no surprise, you're seeing it in the price action. We're way outside of value, which is now the very top of which is somewhere around 432, kind of creeping up throughout the days here, and we're still above all those trend lines, most important being October 13th. So very generally speaking, just going back to what I was saying at the very beginning of this video, shorts are I think ill-advised unless we start to break some significant levels, which I'll talk about here in a second, where those short trades are. Yet even for these trades to the top side, you can see resistances are not really resistance. These prior day highs, overnight highs, we just blow right through them without any type of pullback. And so that's why I'm not really involved on the short side. Yesterday's short trade was the first short trade I've taken in a while. Again, lost 3 points, and that was that. Learned my lesson, got the slap on the hand as was deserved. So that's really the general state of things. Imbalance above all trend lines. Bulls doing their thing. I don't know who Janet Reno is, Mr. Dale. I will look that up in my Boomer Encyclopedia after this video, I promise. But before that, let's look at the daily charts we got going on there. Again, above all trend lines, kind of creeping up. These horizontals are just at the various swing highs, swing lows, which you can see if you go to the description of this video. There's a nice little warm-up document where I package everything, and most importantly, being those SPY levels, the most important SPY levels of which are bolded. So you can find those there. Again, description of this video is that warm-up document. And also in the description of this video, while we're talking about it, you can see just general strategies and everything else, all the other resources I have in that folder. So just kind of concluding what we're talking about here on the SPY chart, if we do start to get those pullbacks, the first level that I'm really looking at, and again, I'm going to package this up in the newsletter so you have it in writing there. The first level I'm looking at is a loss of that SPY 452. So just to kind of walk through today's plan, I'm going to zoom in here so we can just talk about the various levels that I'm looking at. So really, I think balance, and you can see this on the TPO better, so actually let's pull that up. I think balance is somewhere around 45.50. Now, again, as mentioned a couple minutes ago, relative to that SPY weekly chart, we are in such a strong state of imbalance that it's really anybody's guess where balance is right now. So just kind of extrapolating what I've been seeing on the various price action charts, if I had to draw a rectangle around the area that I think represents balance, I think it's somewhere around here. So if I'm drawing that cool little rectangle, let's make it yellow. Add another pretty color to this. Yeah, let's make it dash 2. Let's add some texture to that rectangle. I think balance is somewhere around there, which is going to correlate to SPY 450. Obviously, a psychologically important level as well, so not a stretch to make that assumption, I don't think. And so what does that mean? If you look on this TPO, I think it's a great representation of where we are in the market right now. We are way above it. And so if you're a counter trend trader, hey, you may argue with me that this is a great spot for shorts. I just don't find that to be the move in this environment. I think we're much better to wait for those dips or not take the trade at all. And that's just been my recent experience trying to short this thing, even when you get a good signal. So I'm looking at balance somewhere around SPY 450, which is going to be right around 45.50 on the lovely ES there. Yet, because we are in such a strong dip buying regime, I'm going to go to the 50-minute chart to talk about this. That red dashed line there is the top of the value. So if I pull up the 4-hour chart, when I'm talking about just the value area, that's the profile I draw, starting with that swing low there, all the way to the top. Nothing fancy. You can see just how choppy we have 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 4-ish distributions. Again, just a sign of that super emotionality, if that's a word, of the market. And yeah, so that's where I'm pulling that level from. It's kind of the top of value there. And that is, I think, the first buyable dip of the day. So I will be buying if we do pop back down there. You know, please, market gods, that'd be really great to pull back even just a little bit. Give us a good entry. That 45.80-ish level is the first I'm looking at there. So if we do start to melt the resistance, and keep in mind, or support rather, keep in mind that when you do have this level of exuberance in the market, which is why I'm being so upbeat, frustrated about it, you do have those rug pulls where we just drop 40 points out of nowhere. So again, not necessarily guaranteeing that it's going to be a winning trade there, but I like that rebid at the top of value there, at least for a quick little scalp. And if you look at my mechanics, you'll see a mention of N, etc. In those mechanics, and you'll also find N on that warm-up document. That number's about 8 today, so not looking for anything crazy, just we'll be looking for a rebid of that. And then really the major support here is going to be right around SPY 452, which is right about 45.65-ish on the ES, and that's that cyan blue line right there. That would be, I think, the best bid. And then conversely, if we do start to accept below that, as you see in the mechanic document there, I say about 5 points-ish is acceptance. You start to accept below that, then I think we can get a pretty decent sell to at least SPY 449, which corresponds to somewhere around this green dotted line, about 45.30 on the ES there. So those are the three major levels I'm watching. So just to reiterate, about 45.80 corresponds to about 453 on the SPY. Somewhere around 45.65 it correlates to about 452 on the SPY. And then finally, if we do get a push below that, that is a potential short, I think, possibly taking us down to this 45.30 level. And then finally, just because I have to bring it up, let's go back to that daily chart. If there is a miracle and we get a real sell, I'm looking at this gap here. So it's about 443 to 445. Again, I would be borderline shocked at this point to see us even go down here for a minute without something significant happening, because that takes us back below that October 13th trend line, which you can see if I zoom out here, this solid low line here. If we go back and look, that is from that October 13th low. So I think it's going to take a lot for us to go after that gap. Yet if we do, I'm a big dip buyer, big and happy dip buyer if we do get anywhere near that 443 level. So again, I'm going to package all these numbers and stuff up in that newsletter. I'll give you the SPY levels there, and you can see what I'm talking about. But just wanted to review that in the video, and that's kind of what we got going on for potential buying opportunities. So where are we going? If I had to use a crystal ball, I would say we're pretty near the top. This red line here, I should probably make it pink just so we have a clearer level. I think this 4610-ish area is the eventual magnet. It has been the magnet of this up move, and we are almost there. I'm extremely shocked that we reached it without a pullback, yet such is the market right now. So those are the levels that I am looking at. And just to cover, because we have to, our friend Volatility, who's really trying to do something here, you're actually seeing a bit of a bid. Now, again, Volatility, as anyone who's been watching can tell you, has not been indicative of really anything. We do have a bit of a slower velocity, slower, whatever the correct term is. The velocity to the downside is not what it was, but that's just because of how beat up it is. So in terms of volatility, really watching what happens above 1610 and not really even looking to the downside at this point, because I guess the VIX could be destined for VIX could be destined for single digits. So really just looking at it as a fear gauge, and I don't see any real fear until we're at least above that 1610 area. So that's what we got. Yes, I also like dip, I suppose, Dale, especially that good Texas salsa that sometimes makes its way over to Florida here. So food and other condiments aside, that is all I have for you. So I will, for the fifth time, package it up in the newsletter, which you can find at retailtrading.com if you're not already a subscriber. And we'll just kind of watch and wait and see what happens. I do have an 11 a.m. curfew. And then very rarely I will trade between the hours of 1400 and 1600. So we stay here. I'm not too keen on going 2 days without a decent trade. So I will be back at 1400, not on here, but I'll be back in the market. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, watching what happens around that 4612 number. We do have an open drive yet again. Astounding. I think it's the third or fourth day in a row of the same type of opening price action, which you can see it here. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day. What's this say? Really? Yeah, 4 days in a row. It's a little choppier on Friday, but we just kind of open up and buy it. So we'll see if that changes as the day goes on here. I do thank you for watching. I appreciate any engagement, be it in the comment section of this video or on Twitter. We can find me at Routine Trader. I would appreciate any engagement on either of those spots. So if you did enjoy this video, despite my, we'll say, frustration and lack of supreme optimism for today's trading, I still appreciate that like. That thumbs up does help with that YouTube algorithm and our quest to get back to double-digit views. So that would be awesome. And regardless, I thank you for your attention and hope you stay classy until tomorrow.